So this is not specifically a video about this laptop, not yet anyway. I do need to get to it. In fact, the reason why I'm recording it is because I was getting it prepared so that I could take it apart. And part of that process is I have to remove the memory expansion and any other, cards that might be in there. It does have a PCMCIA slot. And when I first picked this up, I did see that there. So I assumed, it's got some sort of either a modem or a network adapter or something. So I go to eject it, of course, which is a lever down here. And instead, I find this in here, which, if you're not sure what this is, it allows you to hook up an external CD-ROM drive. Now, I don't know too much about these cards. I did a little bit of research on it, and it's designed to be able to control external CD-ROM drives using a special connector, of course. And this does not come with it or anything like that. This came just as a laptop, of course, with the lot, with the IBM ThinkPad and the other satellite. But the little bit of research I've done is that this is probably, for all intents and purposes, a PCMCIA-based SCSI controller, which is kind of good to have, not just for an external drive, but an external optical drive, but you could probably hook up an external SCSI hard drive to it, SCSI-based scanner, and other tools and things like that. So I said, that's pretty neat, but what am I going to do with this thing? So I went on eBay to see if I can find any CD-ROM drives to go with it. And there's a bunch of them out there. Some are somewhat reasonably priced, some of them are not, but they all already come with a card. And, well, what's the point of having two cards, I mean, what am I going to do with it? So I kept looking and kept looking and kept waiting, and eventually I did manage to find one. And as you can see there, SCSI. So yeah, it is almost certainly a SCSI controller. Now, it might be specially designed just for these optical drives. I'm not sure. But I've got that. I also have the proprietary cable for it. And the original AC adapter for it, because it does run off of external power. Though, one thing that's unique about this particular drive, you see all of these extra buttons here, is it can be used as a portable CD player. And it does take batteries as well. So not only do you have a data drive, but you can still, jam to the tunes of the 90s. And this camera is going out of focus a lot. Apologies. So I picked this up. It was, unknown condition, for parts only, blah, 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 blah. And when I first got it, I didn't realize the lock was engaged here. And I wouldn't open. I said, well, maybe this is why it's untested, because they can't. And I flipped that. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Still doesn't open. There seems to be something wrong with the eject mechanism, and I don't know if it's a spring or something else. Could also just be sticky, because there is a little bit of probably a critter or something. But otherwise, it's relatively clean. And I have no idea if it works now, but it'd be really cool if it does. So let's test it and see if it works. I'm going to try to set up a manual focus on there, so things might get a little blurry if I bring up closer, but at least it won't constantly switch back and forth. Let's see. There's a power button on the side. And I am not getting... Oh. It's open, so it's got power. Let me grab an audio disc, but I don't want to get content struck or anything. However, I do have this copy of Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo for DOS, which has a CD soundtrack, as long as you don't play track 1, because that's the data track. But let's see if we can get it to recognize a disc or not. It's spinning. It says on. I have no idea what else is supposed to happen. Audio disc only. So it sees this as a data disc, which I guess kind of makes sense since this is a CD-ROM drive and not just a CD player. I guess I'll have to grab an audio disc. I guess as long as I don't hook it up to speakers, it should be fine. I forgot that I actually have the, it's a remastered soundtrack for Mystic Quest. It's Final Fantasy USA, I think that's what they called it in Japan. And that is an audio disc. Oh, there it is, track 1, track 2. Let me hook up some speakers and see if we can't get anything out of it. So this is a headphone jack. I'm hoping it'll work, but let's find out here. And it does. So at the very least, I have an audio player. And we're going to pause it just in case that is copyrighted. I mean, it is obviously by Square and whoever else made this, but cool. So it works as an audio player. Now I need to see if it works as a CD-ROM drive as well, too. Obviously, I can't use the Toshiba since that's out of commission, although I do have the other one. But I don't have any of the PCMCI drivers or anything like that. However, I do have the ThinkPad that we can hook it up to and see if it works. So let's do that real quick and find out. And if it does work as a data drive, then I will tear this apart, open it up, and just give it a cleaning, make sure the capacitors are intact, and try to figure out what's going on with the open button here. All right, let's go ahead. Guessing that's the top. Now, I don't know how Windows is going to treat this thing, if I have to have additional drivers for it or not, but we'll see. Oh, look at that. Windows found something. Doggone it. All right, well, I guess I got to find some drivers after all. All right, so I managed to find some drivers, hopefully. Okay, Windows detected the hardware. And it does see it as a SCSI controller, at least based on that icon there. Question is, and there's an E drive I see. Right there. Cool, we can test it now. Alright, let's see. We'll use Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo again. It's busy. Spinning up. And there it is, SF2. So this drive works. Yay! Cool. Now, guess I'll give it a cleaning. Like I said, I want to take it apart to make sure that, none of the capacitors are leaking or anything like that. Figure out what's going on with the open button. And wrap this all up, maybe. All right, so we're going to record at a strange angle because I don't have room to work with over here. It looks like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 screws to take out. Also, the battery contacts are in great shape, and looks like there's a option there for a battery pack of some sort. Might have to investigate that too. Manufactured in January of 1996. And here are the dip switches. I'm assuming these are going to be for SCSI IDs. So, all right. Screws so far the same size. Yep, looks like they're all going to probably be the same size. Cool. Keep them here. Keep them safe and hopefully not lose them. Now, I open the lid, make sure there's nothing in here. Carefully open to make sure there's no ribbons or cables or anything, and there are a bunch of them. And there are surface mount capacitors, a ton of them, which is not a good sign. Wish I could get multiple angles here, because I doubt that there's any teardown guides for something like this. There could be. I haven't seen any, but there we go. Oh, that makes it easier. So you need to remove this ribbon for sure, and then the entire assembly just kind of falls out. For better or for worse. And then you've got this connector here, and this one here, as well as this one here. And there's the CD mechanism. And it just basically rests on these posts that are here. So, all right, let me take a look. So I don't know how well it's going to show up on camera, but it doesn't appear that any of them have leaked at all. And they're probably all Nichicons and Rubicons and stuff like that. I know this one here is a Nichicon. But yeah, it doesn't appear that any of them have leaked, so that's a good sign. Now to try to figure out the eject mechanism. Alright, so here's the top cover. And as you can see, it doesn't just automatically open. However, let's see if I turn it upside down. And gravity does its thing. So my guess is this looks like some kind of sticky substance or whatever over here, and maybe that's what's holding it in place. Alright, got some IPA and a Q-tip. Oh, look at that, now it's cooperating. I'll still give it a cleaning though. I remove the mechanism, get a proper cleaning. Well, there's grease on there, I'm guessing, to kind of help with friction, but I'm wondering if it's also interfering at this point. Like, is it old enough that it's just sticky at this point? I'm just going to clean that little end up right there, the part that actually latches in. If I can get this out. There we are. Let's set this down. Now I can get in there a little bit more. It's not super dirty. And while I have this whole thing apart, I'm going to give it a quick wipe down. And we'll clean the laser off a little bit and put it back together. Just going to use a little bit of glass cleaner. Alright, so I got the spring tension or whatever you want to call that back in place. Let's see. It's not great, but you know what? I'll take it. Better than before. Now, turn our attention to the laser assembly, which is really heavy, by the way. And I just want to give it a real quick cleaning. Kind of like a textured surface. It's kind of ripping up the Q-tip there, so I got to be careful. Also very sticky, too. I guess it has to be to hold the disc in place, so everything else looks fine. Grease looks okay on the rails here, so I'll call that done. Let me wipe the bottom half of the system here. We'll get it back together and test it one more time. All right, and now to get it back together, which is not going to be super easy, but we'll give it a shot anyway, because I don't really have a choice. I think it'll be easier to put this ribbon back on now, and then set everything into the top half of the shell. So I'm a bit of a doofus. There's actually guide pins down here, and you probably all saw them before I did. And this is way easier to do than I originally thought. I saw a post on Reddit the other day on the console repair subreddit, and it was titled, "I hate ribbon cables." I know why they're... And they understood why they're necessary, but I do totally get it too. Oh, look at that. It's still getting stuck. And again, it's not screwed back in or anything. Unless the two halves are just not lining up correctly. Or it could be a design flaw that shows up, decades later. Because it's definitely getting stuck on something. Oh, you know what it is? Magnetic. This is magnetic, and I think that's why it's actually getting stuck. Interesting. It would be funny if that's why they sold it, because it kept getting stuck. And they're like, oh, this doesn't work, it's broken. All right. Let's put it back together. And because these are older plastics, I am not over-tightening. At least I hope I'm not. Before I get the last two, let me just make sure these two halves are fit together properly. I'm squeezing them together as I very, very lightly tighten the screw. And it's back together. How many does this take? 6 AA's? Wow. I wonder how long you get on 6 AA's. And in case anyone wants to read the back of it, that should be it. It's definitely the magnet that's holding it in place. Oh well. Let's hook it back up and make sure it still works. All right, before I turn the laptop on. On is flashing. Good. Power up the ThinkPad. All right, let's see if it shows up. Now it's showing up as Drive D, but that's because I had the CF card in there to transfer drivers over. And you know what? Let's see if it'll read a burned disk. Let me put the recovery disk in for the 380. Let's see what happens. It's spinning up. I gotta relubricate this tripod here. Now, which drive is it? Is it D or F? There it is. So it's working. Now, ejecting doesn't work because obviously it's not a mechanism like that. So I don't know how to, there's no way to stop the disk from spinning. You just hit open. And maybe that's also why the lid doesn't fly apart, because if it did, that disk would probably spin up into the air like a helicopter, and probably wouldn't be a good day for anyone around. So yeah, so it works. Cool. So now I have a CD-ROM drive that I can use on the Toshiba satellites once I figure out the driver issue and everything. Of course, while I do have the 1900C working, the 1960 CT obviously needs a recap and some other maintenance done to it. And this will probably primarily be for that. Although because it is portable, as long as the laptop has a PCMCIA slot, I can probably use it on multiple different machines. In fact, I wonder if it'll work on my PowerBook 3400C. I'll have to try that one day and see. The other neat thing is that if I can get a PCMCIA reader for a desktop, usually they have front loading slots. I can then use this on multiple different machines at once. So cool. So not a super exciting video, but yeah, neat little pickup. And the only reason I got this is because of that card that was included in the Toshiba laptop. So neat. All right, let me know what you guys thought about all of this. Do you have one of these? Something similar? Let me know down below. Otherwise, thanks. I'll catch you later.